Hi guys, welcome back to this channel and thanks for viewing this video. Today we are going to talk about animations in Java GUI. All right, so without delay, let us begin. So apart from the main class that I have here, in which I'm also creating a frame object of type myFrame, I have the myFrame class, which is inheriting from the JFrame. Inside the myFrame class, I have a constructor, and in the constructor, I am defining the various properties and attributes of my frame. But at the same time, we are going to need another class that we need to create. So I'll click on File, New Class, and I'm going to call this class GUI underscore panel. Click on Finish. So now this class GUI underscore panel is going to inherit from the JPanel class. So I need to say extend JPanel, and this I need to import the JPanel class. This particular class will also have to implement the action listener. So I will say implement action listener like this. So let me import the action listener class, and then I'm going to add the action performed method. All right, as you can see, I'm having the action performed method. So in the myFrame class, we are going to declare an instance of our GUI underscore panel class. Outside of the constructors, we will say GUI underscore panel. We will call it panel. So now inside our constructor, we will need to instantiate our panel. So we say panel assignment operator new GUI underscore panel. And after you have done that, we need to add this panel to the frame. So we will say this that add panel. So here, as you can see, my frame attributes are the title, the location, and here I have this park method and then the set visible. All right, so that's it. What do we need to add on our frame? Let's go back to the GUI underscore panel class. And in here, we are going to declare some variables. So we will say final int. We will set the width of the panel. So we say panel underscore width. I will say 500. And then here I will say final int panel underscore height. That will be 500 as well. So if you recall, in the myFrame class, we are using the park method, and this is going to make sure that the frame is going to adjust its size automatically based on the components we will add in it. Here we are adding the panel, so our frame is going to have the size of the panel. So we're going to add an image. So we will say image, my underscore image, semicolon. So let me import image class. After the image, we need to add a timer. So timer, and I will say my underscore timer. I will import the timer class. And I also need to add the velocity. So I will say integer x velocity is equal to 1. And then integer y velocity is equal to 1. So let's create a constructor. We will say GUI underscore panel like this. We can choose to add a public or not, just like this, all right? So now, if we want to set the preferred size of the panel, we can simply say this, that set preferred size, new dimension, panel underscore width, comma, panel underscore height. And now we have to import the dimension. Next, we can set the background color of our panel. So we'll set this that set background and then color that black. All right. One thing we can do is to import the color class. And after doing that, we have to instantiate the image. So we say my underscore image, assignment operator new image icon. And then I will add the path to my image. So I will say / images / the name of my image is my underscore logo that png, and then I will add get image. So this is going to actually create an image out of the image icon. So let me import the image icon class. So after working on the image, we can now work on the timer. We need to instantiate our timer. So I will say new timer, and then I need to pass some arguments. So 100 this. So this is referring to the action listener being implemented by the class. All right, so the problem was that we had to import the java.swing timer. That's the right package that we needed. So after that, we have to start our timer. So we say my_timer that start. So now we need to add a method, and we will call the method paint. So that will be the paint method. We will say public void paint graphics g, import the graphic. So now let's call the properties from the constructor. So that will be super that paint, and then we'll pass in g here, making reference to the graphics. So this is going to allow us to inherit the properties such as the background color from the GUI_panel constructor. And now we need to convert our graphics into 2D graphics. So let's do graphics. I'm going to call this graphic_2D assignment operator new. You open the bracket and you say graphics 2D. So this is going to make sure that the graphics are going to be converted into 2D graphics. So let me import the graphics 2D like that. And now I need to draw an image using 2D graphics. If you recall, in the previous video, we talked about graphics. I showed you a particular method that you can use to draw an image. So that's what we're going to use here. So I'm going to say graphic_2D that draw image. So for now, I'm going to pass 4 parameters. First, I'm going to pass the image. I call it my_image, and I'm going to pass the coordinates. So I'll say 1 here, and then 1 for the y coordinate, and here I'll say no. All right, so now let me run and see if the image is actually showing on the screen. So when you run, you can see the background color is black, and we have the image here showing on the screen. So the next question we need to ask or to answer is, how do we animate the image? So for that, we are going to use a timer, and then we are also going to use the velocity that we actually declared here. Okay, so let's come into the action performed method. Let's update the position of the image. So we need to get the position of the image. One thing we're going to do is that, you see here, we have directly used some integer values. So instead of using these values directly, we are going to create some variables. So we'll say int x, y, like this. We can instantiate them directly. So we say 1 and y is also equal to 1. So that now when we come to our draw image method, instead of using 1 and 1 here, we will simply use x and y. In the action performed method, if you want to update the position of our image, we will simply say x, because that's the x-axis, is equal to x plus x velocity. So if you recall, x velocity was also equal to 2. And now we need to repaint the image. So we say repaint semicolon. So let me run. Now you can see the image is moving. So if I increase the velocity here, let me say 10 for the x velocity and run. So the velocity has increased, and when it reaches the right border, it disappears. So we can now set some bounds that will determine the animation of the image. So whenever it reaches the right edge of the panel, we want it to come back, all right? So here, now it's moving from the left to right. When it reaches the right edge of the panel, we want it to come back, moving from the right to the left. So now in the action performed method, we're going to write this. If x is greater than or equal to the panel width, like this, so we are going to say that the x velocity is equal to x velocity times -1, right? So now let me run. Okay, so now you can see when it reaches the right edge, it changes direction. So what we're going to do, we will copy this. We'll paste it right before these 2 lines of code. So when I run, you can notice something. When the image reaches the right edge of the panel, it seems like it disappears and then it comes back. So we don't want that. It's like the image has to fully disappear, so it taking into consideration its width before it can change direction. So we need to fix that. So we will come here and then say if x is greater than or equal to the panel width, so we have to say minus the image. So we say my_image that get width null. All right, so this is going to make sure that we're going to subtract the width for the image. So let me run again. So you can see the image is moving. So as soon as it touches the right edge of the panel, changes direction. So what you can also note that is that we have only determined what is happening when the image reaches the right edge. What happens when it reaches the left edge? As you can see, when it reaches the left edge, it disappears, it continues to move. So we have to say that when you reach the left edge, you also need to change direction. So how do you do that? We're going to add some code here. So we will say, if x is greater than or equal to panel width minus my image.get width, or if x is equal to 0, then we want the velocity to be equal to x velocity times -1. So when we are running this, you can see it reaches the right edge, changes direction, and then when it reaches the left edge, it disappears. How can we fix that? So let's put that into the brackets here, and then we will say is less than or equal to 0. We can also brackets around this as well. Let's run. So as you can see, it reaches the right edge, changes direction, and let's wait, it reaches the left edge, and it changes direction as well. All right, so that's it. So we can do the very same thing for the y velocity as well. So we will simply copy this down there, and here we will say if y is greater than panel underscore height minus my image that get height, and then here, or y is less than or equal to 0. We need to update the velocity. Say y velocity is equal to y's velocity times -1. So this is used to change the position, the direction of the image. And down here, we need to update the position. So we say y is equal to y plus y velocity. And then this line of code is here to paint. So for this example, let me comment the x velocity part and simply leave the y velocity here. And now let's run. As you can see, moving slowly, I'm going to increase velocity here. So I will say 25. All right, we run. All right, so now when it comes, it changes direction as soon as it reaches bottom, and when it reaches the top as well, direction. So that's it for the y coordinate. So we can mix the two. I will uncomment this and come here, and let me run. So this is how it's looking like. Okay, so all this is happening because in the x velocity and y velocity, we are having different values. Here, int x velocity is 10, int y velocity. What if we say that they have to be, for the x velocity equal to 10, and then the y velocity, this is how it is going to look like. So if you are having equal numbers, it's going to move diagonally like this, because your x velocity and your y velocity are having the very same value. But you change, let's say, for example, the y velocity, see that the direction of your image will also change. So now this is how I'm going to move frame, all right? So I can play around the x and y velocity, say 25 here, and then 50 for the x velocity. And now you have your image moving all around your panel. So guys, that was it on how to add animation using Java graphical user interface. You can add animation on a particular image in a particular panel, and that's what we have done in this video. So I hope it was informative, and please don't forget to like, to share, and to comment. Subscribe to this YouTube channel for more videos like this one. Let's meet in the next one.